All right, good evening, everybody. I was hoping more persons would have been in the class. It's 16 minutes after the hour, so I'm going to begin. Good evening. Let me get some verbal responses.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay. All right, and I'm sure all persons who are present, you got your grade for the quiz. Is there anybody who did not do the quiz?
I got mine, sir.
Okay. All right, so let me just show you the course. No, I'm in the wrong folder. The course delivery outline, which means it really just shows you due dates and when certain things are due. Let me share screen. Did I claim host? Did I? No, I didn't claim host. Give me one sec. All right, so let me share screen and show you that. Let me just make this a little larger. You're seeing my screen, right, guys? So we are in week 4, which is here, July 12 to 16. So this the mid-semester is going to be the week of July 26 to 30. The week of July 26 to 30, and it will be 20 multiple choice questions from units 1 to 5. All right, and the same thing will have to apply. You'll get back your grade instantaneously, so you'll know exactly where you are in the process. I think August 1, isn't August 1 a public holiday? I think that's what's August 1 again? Right, so we won't, but I think, do they celebrate it on the Monday?
No, they're celebrating it on the 2nd.
Right, the 2nd is the Monday. So I don't know that we're going to have a class on that Monday, but we will definitely have a class on the 4th, which will begin the discussion about pricing product. So the pop quiz is weeks 3, 7, 9. We did 3, so in this week, no, I might push this one to the following week because it would not be fair for you to have done a mid-semester and then right after the following week you're doing another pop quiz. So I might push this here, and in the final week you might get the last one. All right, the mid-semester. Well, I talked about mid-semester for the group project. I think I've been saying that I could give you a document where an assignment where you are looking at the marketing strategies or the approach to marketing by a particular company or brand, or I could ask you to put in groups and ask you to create one print ad and one audiovisual for a particular brand. And of course, it would have to include the value proposition. So I think I'd ask you guys to tell me which of the two you prefer, writing a essay, a paper, or creating a print and an audiovisual.
Sir, for the audiovisual and print, it has to be both?
Yes, it has to be both. You can't do one. Not for so many marks. So it would be one would be print and the other one would be audiovisual. And you'd have to, in other words, you'd have to get a creative person to help you with the audiovisual. You'd have to show me how you write the script for the ad. Of course, I would teach you how to do it, and then you're going to execute. So by Wednesday, you should the class should indicate to me because I have both of them ready. Okay. All right. Today we're going to continue we ended looking at the steps in, oh, let me just show you one last thing because I'm not sure how many of you actually go there. So let me just show you that Moodle actually has information. So if you go to Moodle, this is Moodle, and I get it as my courses, so Principles of Marketing. And under that, you're able to access all kinds of information and content. All right, so you cannot say that you do not have any access to information because the information is there. I'm not emailing you my lectures. You can watch the recordings. I hope persons have been watching the recordings. I see where 2 or 3 persons have been watching the recordings. And let me show you how that part works because I am able to, okay, channel.
Sir,
Yes.
the document you was just showing, could you send it in the group for us? Is it possible?
I'm going to upload it to I'm going to put it on Moodle.
Okay.
Why am I not seeing this? That's not what I want. Playlist. I don't want playlists. So where are my videos? That's it showing me this. This is my professional account, right? Which email address is this? Let me search account and see which email is this. Oh, that's what I'm not seeing. Okay, so let me share and show you that I can see. I know if you have visited or not. So is this my professional email? Let me see. Yes, it is. So videos, library, no, lectures. Right, so here I can see who has visited, if you have visited or if you haven't, or because it tells me, why am I seeing it like this? I don't normally see it like this. Lectures, videos, right. So 4 persons, 4 views. Well, so I can see the statistics are there, or what are called analytics are there to indicate to me that in week 2, lecture 1, 14 persons, there are 14 views and so forth. So remember, the recordings are on the channel, so it's for you to follow. Today, I want us to finish up looking at marketing research. That's where we're going to pick up from, so that you get an understanding of that particular area. And then I'm going to show you 2 researches, one that is qualitative in nature and the other is quantitative in nature. It's actually group assignments that I did when I was studying marketing. And there are very good examples of market research. I'm not going to go through all of this because we looked at that. I'm going to go to the slides that are relevant to the discussion that I want to have. Everybody seeing you're seeing the lecture slides, right? Oh, okay. So role of marketing research, we spoke a little bit about it, but I'm going to go a little bit, get a look at it in a more granular way, a more specific way, and ask you to do some sort of activity around it. All right, so why should companies use market research? Marketing research cuts decision risk with input that leads to value. And we to some extent, we have talked about this, and we looked at the 4 general functions of applied market research, answering basic questions about such as what consumer segments should be served and with what types of products. Testing products, we talk about, for example, if there's a new drink or a new flavor or a new meal, usually you do testing. And you can do that by way of qualitative research. And there are times too when the companies set up shop in different locations and at different sites. Issues examines how specific issues impact the firm, such as organizational structure, and that is very much internal. It could be that you're looking at how the organizational structure affects customer service or customer delivery or the supply chain, and performance, which metrics are critical in real-time management, and what insights can be gained from what if analysis of policy changes. So you could look at policy change, how policy changes affect customer delivery, how policy changes affect performance, productivity, different things. So there's also a theoretical research, research on research. And of course, that is true, but we are not interested in that type of research. So identify and define market opportunities, analyze and select target markets, generate. And this is really just some of the purposes and our roles involved in market research. I'm going to get to some more specific examples. And we did talk about where you can get data or where you can get information for research. We talked about customer relationship management systems. I think some persons mentioned, for example, the database. There are so many different things. We spoke about it: books, magazine, journals, annual reports, website analytics, or Google Analytics, as some people call it. I don't want to get into that per se. So marketing research is most often to support marketing efforts focused on obtaining and retaining customers. And we talked a little bit about that. There are two major reasons for market research. Is about obtaining new customers or retaining customers. All right. This includes understanding what and how consumers or customers value the brand. So you're looking at brand perception and brand equity, and concurrently help the company's various cross-functional departments deliver on that value. And I think we spoke a little bit about how, for example, the kind of customer, the customer value chain, even at Excelsior, when, for example, the marketing department sends out an ad, you respond to the ad, information is collected from you, your data are collected, hand over to the enrollment unit. The enrollment unit reaches out to you by phone call or by email or probably by a WhatsApp message. They send you an acceptance letter. Once you get the acceptance letter, you're now interacting with the like the registrar. It could be that you're interacting with the registrar. The registrar hands over the information to the school or department, and in the school now you're interacting or interfacing probably first with the head of school, then the other persons in the department. Then of course, after that period, you go over into classes. You're interacting with lecturers. Then you're going to also interact with your classmates. Then you might interact with the school in terms of principal's hour or a school trip, or you join a club or whatever. And all of that is part of the customer journey and the customer experience. And whether or not you feel that you are valued as a customer, and whether or not you are satisfied as a customer. So that is part of the whole cross-functional, a company being able to, or departments in a company being able to deliver on the value or the promise to the customer. Very, very critical. And many times companies want to measure whether or not there's customer satisfaction. These are the 6 general stages of a market research project. You must know them. They always come on your multiple choice paper, almost not only for the quizzes that you'll get in my class or the mid-semester, but especially on the final exam, that you define the objectives. And that's partly what I'm going to introduce you to today, looking at actual research that was done. Plan, approach, sample. We spoke about sampling, about probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Then we talked a little bit about data collection, especially when we had some discussion about survey and the various ways of how data are collected. Data analysis, in other words, making sense of the data, or interpreting the data, or analyzing the data, and then reporting. In other words, presenting it in a format to either your company or senior management, whether it be in a Word document and or a PowerPoint presentation, so that the company can make strategic and managerial and operational decisions. Said that already. All right, so you may need to identify an overall problem statement or business objective as context. So the first step in the research proposal is to describe the problem, to identify key factors that will help frame the research objectives and the whole research program. The company, division, or key stakeholders involved, the symptoms or issues, the probable cause of the symptoms, the decision alternatives, other key elements of the research request and proposal that are the budget and timing deadlines for the researcher to work with. And I'll show you what I mean by this. In other words, you have to contextualize the quote unquote, the problem or the business problem. And I'm going to show you some examples of that. All right, so defining the problem is crucial. Consider, this is an example that consider New Coke in the 1980s. Coke's market share had declined from over 60% to approximately 24% over 40 years. Pepsi was running a successful campaign called Pepsi Challenge, in which consumers were consistently choosing the sweeter Pepsi over Coca-Cola in blind taste tests. Coke executives assumed they didn't have a sweet enough beverage and spent lots of money researching and developing a new tastier cola and dropped their older version. And of course, sales plummeted. And of course, they had to go back to the original taste because a lot of market research was not done. So often you'll hear from marketing, here's what I want to know. Ask instead, what decision are you making and what information do you need to make that decision? And as I said to you before, marketing has to be, the approach to marketing has to be data-driven. All right, and there are times I don't know how many of you have had the experience, and well, you're persons who work in government, but especially in the private sector, they will complain bitterly that they're spending a lot of money on marketing, but they're not getting any return. So we are losing money. Is a problem, and losing money could be that you're losing profits, you're only breaking even, your market share is eroding, and you need to do some amount of market research to see what is the problem. In other words, you're trying to diagnose the problem in order to find a resolution. So problems that can be addressed through market research are failure to meet objectives, opportunities, because there are changes in the marketplace. Did you see that I shared an article today about Jamaica? Remember I said to you that Jamaica was becoming an aging population?
Yes, sir.
Right, and there was an article that in the Jamaica Star that really pointed in that direction, that we are slowly, as women become more independent and all of that, they're having less children because of course, there's no time to be producing children when you're also pursuing your first degree, your bachelor's, your bachelor's degree, your master's, and you're just trying to establish yourself as a professional. So those are the kinds of things now you have to be paying attention to in the marketplace. Of course, you're not going to read an article and make an assumption that based on that article, automatically something is wrong. It is the reason why you are losing money or whatever. Of course, you're going to do a market research. Hypotheses can be used to guide the objectives. In other words, hypotheses are really speculations or assumptions about we call them variables in the marketplace. All right. Do I go to showing you? I can show you an example of an hypothesis because we actually had to write one. Let me just share. I never wanted to touch it yet, but you're seeing my screen? Just tell me if you're seeing my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So this is an actual market research that we did. We had to do it. All right. So the hypothesis, so two hypotheses just right here. Two hypotheses were tested to observe expected relationship between groups in the sample. The two hypotheses were to assess if there's a relationship between the category of heavy, medium, and light travelers and the category of heavy, and medium digital media platform users. In other words, as I said before, it is a speculation or an assumption between two variables. And the research now will state whether or not, whether you accept or reject. Well, although they say that you don't really reject the hypothesis, you either accept or not accept the hypothesis. All right, so, or the hypotheses. So this is just an example, but I'm going to go through the research. So I don't want to necessarily get too much into it at this moment. But as I said before, understanding research in marketing is important, especially if any of you intend to go into marketing as a professional. So objectives should be precise, detailed, clear, and actionable to solve the problem. So problems with different research objectives. And these are examples, right? Which of the three commercials will generate the greatest sales for our toothpaste? So companies actually do carry out market research based on commercials because they want to see the impact, the commercial, which of the commercial has the greatest impact in terms of convincing a customer to make a purchase. Which media or combination of media should we use to promote our toothpaste? That's very, very critical. All right. In other words, where are your customers or where are consumers getting information? What platforms do they use? And it would mean that the company would also have to use that platform. Very, very critical. What message should we use in our promotion to drive sales of our toothpaste? And these are examples of objectives, of objectives relating to a company that is going to research about toothpaste. So messaging is important. Messaging is usually like, I'm sure you know messaging, like be more, earn more, do one of our degrees and become the next boardroom executive. Those are messaging. So what you're trying to do is to see which of the messaging resonate better with consumers. All right, what should our marketing strategy be for our toothpaste? And marketing strategy includes how is the toothpaste going to be packaged, how it's going to be positioned in the marketplace, with specific segment or which specific segment or segments you're going to go after. Should we continue to sell or be in the toothpaste business? In other words, is it that this particular brand of toothpaste is no longer selling? Things like that. All right, so here are some examples of sample business problems. How can Nova Scotia build loyalty with the customer base it inherited from President's Choice Financial? What can Pizza Hut do about its increasing labor costs? How can Digicel buy loyalty with customer base to prevent them switching to a competitor? And what should the Jamaican government do to update its sex education curriculum? I want for you to look at them because what I'm going to now do, I'm going to put you in groups and I want for you to write a sample business problem. You're going to choose any local company and write, and just think of a business problem. Whether it be Digicel, Cable and Wireless, just think about a company that people complain about a lot. Or even your own experience, and you think that you think that a for-profit company has a problem, and it could be government too. It could be even the police force. If you could come up with a business problem that they probably would want to solve or to find a solution for. Everybody understands? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Repeat, sir.
So what you're doing, you're going to do something that is similar. You're coming up with a business problem, a marketing research related business problem. And these are examples of the business problem. You can take a photograph of it. All right, so, and I'm just showing you some examples that are here, and then you move from, this is showing, so the business problem is how to build brand loyalty for Simply Financial. And they are just showing you objectives below, but we're not at the objective. All right, we're not at the objective level as yet. I just want for you to write an example of a marketing research related business problem. Everybody understands? Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me stop sharing because I need to put you in the breakout room. I have, let's say 11 people. All right, let's do. All right, so go in the breakout room for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And persons might be added over time because, you know, some persons are going to be late for class. I'm giving you about 10 minutes or so.
Sir, Mr. Clark,
Yes, I've assigned it to a group. Can you just go in the group for me, please?
I was in group 1 and I got kicked out.
Or hold on.
Time.
All right, so let's go with room one. Estriano, is this Llewellyn, Norda, and Tosso Saint? Go ahead, let me hear your research, marketing research related problem.
Good evening, sir. Our problem that we came up with is how can Digicel improve their customer service to remain a bigger, better network?
I love that. Love that, love that, love that. So how can, say it again?
How can Digicel improve their customer service to remain the bigger, better network?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Is there a reason for choosing that particular business problem?
Yes, there is, because presently you are not able to get that assistance when needed. Say it is that you're on the road and you need to get in contact with a customer service rep from Digicel, that at times, many times, 90% of the time, it does not happen. And you find yourself having to wait until in the morning, where you can either get access to a computer that has internet for you to do a web chat, or you have to try to go around the system to see how best you can select something just to go to a customer service representative, even if that representative has nothing to do with the problem that you're having. So you really and truly, there's no customer service present where you feel like you're being treated as a good customer, as a customer. It's just like, them just there. We have many ways you can reach us, but truth is you don't. You really don't.
Okay, all right.
That's why we chose that question.
Thank you so very much. Room two, Fabian, Leona, Priscilla, Tiffany, go ahead.
All right, sir. We had two, but let me give you the first one. The JCF. How can the JCF build its trust with their customers or the citizens to be a better force for good?
All right, so say it again for me.
How can the JCF build its trust with customers or citizens to be a better force for good?
Okay, to be a better force for good. I think the force for good part, they would probably, you'd refine it, but I like that. In other words, you're trying
because their newly slogan is JCF, a force for good. They move into.
What does that mean?
It means a force that is free of corruption and better relationship with citizens, building their trust, thus making the force a better force.
Yeah, I like it.
On a general path.
Yeah, I like that. Let's hear the second one.
The second one was, we're looking at Lime, right? Right, guys? Lime.
Flow. There's no company called Lime.
Flow. You got Lime.
Fabian, you want me to go ahead?
Oh, no problem. Sure, no problem. I'll assist you right back you up right away.
Okay, sir. The next one is Flow. Or does Flow can reassure us
reassure?
Sorry.
No, just a lower Fabian. Let you finish.
Okay, no problem.
So go ahead. I just didn't hear a part, so I'm just trying to ensure that I'm hearing everything you're saying.
Somebody wants me to help you now.
No man, talk man.
Okay, let me try still. How can Flow?
Did her internet go? How can Flow? I didn't hear anything else.
Sponsorship to the communities.
Repeat. Go from the beginning. I didn't hear a part. I don't know if it's my internet or yours.
Yeah, it's mine. It's mine. It's unsafe.
All right, so let Fabian, you can help her because I think it's
Unstable.
really it's
Sir, I'm
unstable
saying
for her.
that flow, in order for them to keep their customers, what they do, they renew their sponsorship. So with community in the communities for children, and in doing that, customers will see the good in them, or so.
But you need to state it as a business problem, though. You're kind of telling me what I don't. You have to frame it as a business problem.
Yes. Where
Some
to
experience.
get at is that the business problem is that persons might see them as being helpful.
That's not a
I
business
think that
problem.
is a company
Yeah,
that
listen,
doesn't
that's
offer
not
just
a
the money.
business problem. State it according to how it's.
Flow better build the customer relationship and maintain its customers.
All right. So in other words, you probably are measuring how Flow can
Yes.
build loyalty or better
Customer
relationship.
relation.
Customer
Yes.
relationship.
Yes,
Which
sir.
is with its customer base.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you very much. Room 2. Room 3, I'm seeing Camelia and Francine. I'm not sure. I know other persons were in that room, but I'm just seeing those two persons. Go ahead for me.
Sir, I came in late, so I come in, I just joined the breakout room and I asked what is going on. And well, the information, well, it never did too precise, but I try a little thing the same way, understand? All right, so how can KFC increase in competition to keep their customer buying finger-licking good chicken meals? And I think
Hold on. So say it slowly for me.
how can KFC increase in competition?
Increase in competition?
Yes.
I don't understand that part. What do you mean by increase in competition?
All right. All right. Well, competing with its rival Burger King, you know, whatever.
It sounds like it, but it sounds like you're talking about. It sounds like you're talking about market share. Like how can KFC increase its market share over its competitors, something like that. That's what it sounds like to me.
All right,
but
sir.
You don't usually put the slogan in the business problem.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't call their chicken, the competitors don't call their chicken finger looking good. Right. So you usually don't put that as a part of the discussion. But go ahead, you were about to say something.
All right, sir. So I was saying KFC can do research to see how the competition is out there, or how the market is, right? And try to give customers a better value for their money, or a better deal, right? So the customer will always remain loyal, no matter what other competition is out there.
In other words, you're trying to say how KFC can maintain its customer loyalty in relation to prevent them from switching to a competitor or something like that. Something. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So, sir, what Mr. make sense?
Well, I did say yes.
Okay, because as I say, me just come in and ask, so I just scribble down something, so hope it's all right.
Okay, and thanks for that. All right, so then I'm going to go back to sharing screen. Okay, so let's cancel that. All right, so then you have what are called the objectives, but we're not going to get necessarily into all of the objectives. So defining market research objectives. All right, so first of all, objectives really are made up of two variables. So you have the research problem, or you have the research problem, and then you have objectives from that. So first, establish your business or marketing opportunity. What is it that you're trying to do that you need information for? Determine your key research questions. These should summarize what will be achieved, answered by the research, and expand and describe those research questions. And we're going to look at some examples. So key elements of good research objectives: from whom are you going to gather information? Use appropriate consumer language, not marketing jargon. What do we want to measure? What information is needed, and what are the specific metrics and timing of measurement? And we're going to look at some examples. And they always tell you that research objectives should be SMART. All right. Research objectives are a clear articulation of the metrics to be used to support the business information needs and test your hypotheses. Make sure each objective clearly articulates the following to ensure helpful results. Target population, from whom, the metric, and we spoke about that. Action verb, please mute your mics. An action verb such as measure, evaluate, determine, rank, and I'm going to show some examples of that. Unit of measurement or time frame, and use consumer friendly language. In other words, if you give somebody a questionnaire, will they, somebody's mic is not muted. All right, let me mute everybody. When it says use action standards if applicable, and think SMART, specific, this is what SMART means: specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. And as I said before, I'm going to look at some examples. Let me go back. All right, so these are some examples of research objectives, right? So evaluate brand perceptions of brand A and brand B among the past 3 months users of each brand. Determine millennials' levels of satisfaction overall as well as across 10 to key dimensions. Segment the market to identify the most valuable target customer profile for this product based on demographic and psychographic data. We're going to look at two specific researches, one that is qualitative in nature and the other that is quantitative in nature. I don't want to do all of this. We kind of spoke about these things in terms of the strengths and weaknesses of the different methods of data collection. So let me just go through this. I'm not going to go through all of this. The thing I think I want to mention, I think we mentioned it in the last class, or ethical issues. We spoke about some of these things. I don't want to necessarily go into all of that. This is just a reminder about, we spoke about data, ethics of online research, because you want to, for example, and ethics generally maintain someone's identity and all information and data that you collect on them. So let's look at two different examples of market research, one that is quantitative in nature and one that is qualitative in nature. And I think I spent some time, I showed you before, but let's go a little, look at it a little bit more in detail. So let's ignore the executive profile, which is the last thing that you write when you're carrying out marketing research or market research. All right, so this is the part that is important. So the context of the research, let me just highlight this. So it is within this context that Travel Life requested that a qualitative research be conducted in order to develop content for their social media platforms that provide millennials and late generations with information about vacation and travel destinations. This research involved focus group discussions. Usually qualitative research in this case, we did what are called focus group discussions. And what we really did was to have the different focus groups in a specific area, and they're telling you, so we carried out, of course, we never actually did it in Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto. We just put it in the study, but we pretended that the students, the persons who participated in the focus group discussions were from the different provinces. Well, Vancouver is a province, Calgary is a province, but Toronto is a city in Ontario. And so remember now what we're trying to determine. We're trying to determine we're in order to develop content for their social media platform. In other words, we want to determine if the content that the millennials and late Gen Z see on social media will affect where they go for vacation or where they travel to. Do we understand that? Hello?
So repeat that again.
So I'm saying this particular study was really to determine if the content on social media, when we say content, we're talking about travel related content. if the content that millennials and late generation Z see on social media, does it impact where they end up going to for travel and for vacation?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're trying to say no. So here's the hypothesis now. This is the part that says hypothesis. So Travel Life, which is a magazine that and what usually happens is that the company usually they outsource marketing research. So we were quote unquote the marketing agents, the marketing research agents. So Travel Life hypothesizes that these two target groups would want to read content about travel experiences and destinations on their social media of choice. This, the company theorizes, would not only pique their interest, and this is not the peak that should be there, but would also influence the kinds of experiences they seek as well as planning their overall itinerary. In other words, the assumption is that millennials and late generation Z would want to see travel experiences on their social media. That's the assumption. That's assumption one. And two, in that when they see this kind of content on their social media, that this will then now want them in turn to also have similar experiences. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. So here comes now the research objective. So the primary objective, which is what is guiding the research. This is what is guiding the research. This is what we're trying to prove. The primary objective is to explore the impact of social media on Centennial College business students in deciding their vacation itinerary. So we want to see if social media has an impact in terms of where these students go for vacation. And then you have the secondary objectives now, which now is usually between 3 to 5, to determine how social media influences these students in selecting travel destinations. So this is travel destination, which is a variable. Let's underline that as a variable. To better understand how social media influences students in their selection of what? This is another variable, right? Travel accommodations, attractions, and activities, and to identify what factors of social media have the most influence. So is it that it's posted by influencer or by friends, or is it that it's based on pictures or whatever? So if you notice now, each secondary objective is measuring a different variable. The first variable is social media. The second variable is destination. The first variable is social media. The second variable is selection of travel accommodations, attractions, and activities. The first variable is social media. The second variable is influence. All right. And then no, the methodologies, as I said before, is how you collect data. And how we collected data was using focus groups. And this is just telling you the profile of the respondents. All right, so these are the actual questions that were asked. It's called a moderation guide, where, as a moderator, you have this different parts of it, the kinds of questions that you ask, but I'm not going to go through that. You have the summary, and then now you go into the overall findings. The overall findings, all right? And I'm not going to go through all of the overall findings, but what can give you some insight now is the recommendations or even the executive summary, which is something that we can look at. So if you notice now, this is a qualitative research, so you don't have what? You notice that you're not seeing what? Any statistical interpretation or analysis, because it is qualitative. So recommendation one also, based on the findings, one, it is recommended that Travel Life add more pictures of architecture and hiking spots taken at tropical destinations that are close to Canada, such as the Caribbean, to its Instagram platform. In other words, one of the things that was discovered in the focus group is that the respondents said to us that they want to see more pictures of architectures, pictures of hiking spots in tropical destinations. So the rationale, while most respondents are likely to go to warm places for their vacation, some respondents prefer outdoor exploration, such as hiking. In other words, they're not interested in hotels. Do you realize that? You notice that Instagram now is becoming what? A very important social media platform. Another recommendation, it is recommended that Travel Life consider sponsoring social media influencers whose content is heavily focused on travel to attract new audiences. And of course, there are several other recommendations. So let's look now at the quantitative study, because usually you do the qualitative study before and then after you do the quantitative study. This is quantitative, right? Making sense, everybody? I just want to ensure that I'm not losing anybody. I'm just showing an actual example of a market research.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the quantitative component. Let me just make sure it's a quantitative. Yes, quantitative. And we got almost 100 for this particular research. So usually you tell them, and in all research you tell them the time period, which is something that was mentioned, right? This is a time period. These are general findings, but I don't want to get into the general findings yet. I want you to understand the research, because you're going to find that one of the things that we discovered in the qualitative research is that there were some gaps. And because of the gaps, we realized that there was need for a quantitative analysis or a quantitative research. All right, so here it is now. Because of this discovery, Travel Life decided that there was a need for additional research in measuring the relationship between preferred media platforms, millennials and late Gen Z, in the form of quantitative analysis. More specifically, the brand decided to conduct quantitative research to identify the preferred social media platforms, content type, as well as other online and offline sources that influence the travel plans of Canadian millennials. What this is saying is that in the qualitative study that use focus group to collect data, some of the respondents, or a lot, probably an overwhelming number of the respondents, indicated that it was not only social media that influenced their travel decisions. This is why we use the term offline sources. Offline means anything that is not internet. So it could be, can you give me an offline source that might impact or influence the travel decisions of millennials or late Gen Zs? Let me see if you're thinking.
Sir, say for instance, someone else went to the destination and went to a train, and that person maybe tells somebody else.
Right, so it could be a family member. Yeah. It could be a family member that tells you, oh, you know, I went to Jamaica, or I went to this part, or I went to Trinidad, or I went, and it was really, 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 really good. It was phenomenal. It could be that you saw something in the print media. It could be that you saw something in a print magazine. Or it could be that you saw a billboard. It could be that you saw something on a notice board. So what was discovered in the qualitative research is that social media is not the only thing influencing these persons to travel. So now there is need for research to determine now the more effective, preferred, and this is the part that really we can look at, more effective online and offline channels preferred by targeting millennials and late Gen Z. All right, and it goes into a lot of details. So the objectives of the research to identify the preferred digital media platforms and a whole heap of different things. You have the hypothesis. You find that the quantitative study is a little bit more detailed. You have to know, talk about research design, sample size. Remember, we talked about qualitative and quantitative sampling, methods of data collection. And this, I think we used, we did use a structured, it was a structured questionnaire. Not structured questionnaire, but a close-ended questionnaire. And these are the results. You know, I'm not going to get into all of it, but just to say that, let's just look at some of the findings at the beginning. What were some of the findings of the actual research? These were the general findings. Majority of the respondents use travel websites as the first information source when planning their travel itinerary. Second, majority of the respondents selected their friends, family as the first information source. So families and friends are offline sources when planning their travel itinerary. of the respective online and offline sources that matter the most to the respondents. Print media, because they can check the credibility. In other words, if it's coming from the Gleaner, if it's coming from the Observer. Travel agencies, because you have travel agencies that you call and they know what they're talking about. Majority of the respondents research popular tourist attractions when they plan their last vacation. In other words, people are not only relying on social media. So now the research moves from just social media to media. Not just social media, but media. All right. So this is important because what Travel Life is doing, they're trying to ensure that they remain relevant to their segment in the market. All right. Make sense, people? Any questions? Or everything is clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Apparently it's crystal clear. That's actually very good. Let me see if I need to share this with you. Well, I kind of did that a while ago. I don't know that I need to. Well, I kind of did that a while ago. All right, so today now we move on to a new topic. We move on to a new topic and we're going to look at, I want for you to identify a print ad. So you're going to identify a print ad for me. And I want for you to tell me who is being targeted, why are these persons, or why is this group, or why is this group being targeted, and what are the benefits provided to the target audience. So select a print ad, determine the segment or audience for the ad. Why are these, let me not pluralize. Why is this group or groups being targeted? And what are the benefits? What are the benefits being offered to the target audience? Well, all of these should end with a question mark. I put the questions in the chat. Are you seeing the questions? Tell me if you understand what I'm asking you to do. Hello?
See it, sir.
Do you understand what I'm asking you to do?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to put you in the breakout room again. Let me create a different one. Recreate. Thank you. All right, please enter the breakout room for me. I'm going to give you about 15 minutes or so for this. Francine, Joanna, Juanita, Latoya, Priscilla, Frankson, please go into the breakout rooms. All right. Let's go with the last time I started room 1. Let's start with room 4. Llewellyn, Norda, Tiffany. Let's see what you have. You should be able to share screen.
Put up the screen, Nardia.
You can see it?
Yes, I'm able to see it.
So I'll ask the question, Blue, and you can answer.
So, sir, this is our print ad. And we think the group being targeted is kids, right? Whether they call it all the way up to young adults, right? And what are the benefits being offered by the advertisement? And we think it's because it's lightweight, easy to pack, and based on the fact that the child on the ad is considered to be a good source of fiber as well as calories, and we consider to be an excellent option for on the go.
And iron as well, because banana give iron.
But I don't see that in the ad though. You seem to be adding that though.
Yeah.
I don't see that, so be careful
Which
of
one,
adding
sir?
to it. No, when you said, for example, iron and
Oh, I didn't say iron.
yeah, because I'm looking at the
I
actual.
say a good source of calories.
Right, but I'm saying, where do you see that in the ad though? What in the ad?
It's just the jump up thing with the young man. Why I say that?
Okay,
Energy.
so energy,
It's
right?
on energy, yes.
Okay. So he looks to be very and what I thought you were going to speak to the fact that the images of a male child.
Well, I didn't
Sorry,
want to
James,
say because I was wondering.
No, it's deliberate. Remember we said to you that. Remember, we're coming from the whole notion of market research, right? So let's just pretend that they did a market research to determine which ad would resonate best with the audience. Clearly, it's not just in this case, it's not just the child that is being targeted, but also the parent or parents of the child or the guardians of the child, because sometimes the child does not have the money, but the child will go and influence the parent to make a purchase. So in this case, I thought, so you're very, 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 very much on the ball in terms of your analysis. I love what you have just said. I would have just added that it's male, and males need a lot of energy, and this young man seems to be, raging or raving with energy based on what is being projected. All right, you want to add anything else?
No, sir, I'm going to be careful. I'm going to leave it there.
No, you don't need to be careful. This is the time to take risks.
Sir, I would like to add something.
Yes.
Sir?
I'm listening.
Yes. With this banana chips, it is available. No, in the fact it's from St. Mary's, so it is it sells island-wide. If it is from St. Mary, where it is being produced and packed at the factory, and it is at a cost where a parent can even afford. It is affordable, so cost wouldn't be a problem for the parent.
All right.
Because
so
you have to consider costing when purchasing. So,
but you have to be careful doing. I'm saying. No, I'd be careful, because is there anything on this that suggests or recommend? Does it suggest affordability? Where do you get affordability on the ad? You can't. I don't want you to project anything onto the ad. I want you to talk to me about what is on the ad. What I liked what your colleague said earlier is that it's easy to pack, which is true. This is why the young man has his knapsack. Because he can just put it in there, and he's still able to jump because it's light.
Lightweight, yes.
Right, it's lightweight. So I got that. What I also thought that you were going to comment on is this, what they call it again? There's a marketing term. Actually introduce it to it. I don't remember the term, but the JP right here. What's this about? What does JP means right here? That particular brand.
St. Mary's banana chips is a product of Jamaica. JP, I think it's Jamaica producers.
Right.
And so it's a product of
Jamaica
theirs.
product?
Yes.
Yes, which could suggest what?
It's approved by Jamaica.
No, I don't think I would go a little bit more. What could that
it's
suggest?
approved brand. It's approved brand by JP, by Jamaica Produce.
It's an approved
Producers.
brand by Jamaica producers, but
Producers.
also too that it is local and it is more than likely organic. It's not something that has a lot of artificial ingredients, in other words.
Okay.
Yeah, so we could also, because remember, nothing that is put on the print ad is by accident. Everything is projecting or saying something. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I love, I'm happy I started with room 4. Love the ad and love the explanation. All right, thank you guys. All right, let's go to room 3. Go ahead for me, room 3.
So which room was room 3 again?
So room 3 is Alicia, Richards, Juanita, Leona, and Frankson.
Just put up the ad now. Put up the ad with Canada something.
Yeah, me also. We just realized the source we can share. Give me a second. Wait, okay. Here is my tablet. Leona, go ahead. You see it?
Yeah. Yes, sir. This is the ad that we're using. It's the one that they have advertising for persons, young professionals, to come to Canada to help build their population, and they're offering jobs, security, and for persons who really want to further their education. The whole package is put in a way that will attract persons to come to Canada.
But the only thing I'm seeing is the only thing I see is come to Canada. I don't see anything else on the ad.
A better one, but yeah.
That's the only thing I'm seeing. I don't see come to Canada. I don't see anything else on it. I mean, in terms of words, only in terms of, no, that's what I'm saying. You are supposed to talk to me in terms of responding to the question. So the first question, you select the ad, so determine the segment or the audience for the ad. So who is this ad targeting?
Young professional.
Millennials, sir.
I see more than this person in the red is not, this looks like a child attending school or college. This man here looks older. The other 3 look much older. So there's a diverse range of age groups. Anyways, continue. I won't say anything. Explain.
So Canada's population consists of a lot of elderly persons. So they in turn want persons to come to Canada to build their population.
That's not in the ad, though. You keep projecting onto the ad. That's not in the ad.
That is what it is projecting, sir. That is
no. What you're telling me is information that you know. You're telling me. Let us say it had said come to. Let us say it had said come to Myanmar. You would not be telling me about population. You would not be telling me that. Remember, the ad must speak for itself. You have to select an ad that speaks for itself. Don't project anything onto it. Anyways, continue.
Sir, none of the other ones down the bottom there don't. We are immigration and citizenship.
I have no idea.
No, I couldn't find one on me. Don't look for. I couldn't find one on me there. Well, I always pop up on your Facebook and then something there. For some reason,
no, but that's not. Listen, what did I ask you to select? I asked you to select what? A print ad is not a social media ad. There's a difference.
But coming at the Gleaner.
This came in the Gleaner just like that?
No, the one I never find it.
Right, so you did not select a print ad. You selected a social media post ad, which is different.
Okay.
The company I work for in Canada is an immigration company. So what you're telling me, I know everything about it. That's why I can tell you that the ad is not saying that, because that's exactly what I do. I market for them. That's what I do there. I work at an immigration company in Canada. So I could tell you that you're projecting onto the ad because the ad did not say that. What I thought you were going to say is that it's appealing to a wide cross-section of professionals. That's what it is doing, just the image alone. So we're seeing those who are in the medical field as well as those who are technically inclined. And the presence of the child could suggest that you can bring your family And also, if you look at it, you're seeing different shades of people, which means that Canada is welcoming different people from all kinds of ethnicities and backgrounds and countries. That's what I thought you were going to say, because it's deliberate that they chose all the persons are of different skin color. One is Asian, one looks white, then the professional area look like a business person, one looks like a medical doctor or works in the healthcare sector, the other one looks like he works in construction or architecture or something like that, and the other one is a teenage boy, which means that it's a family. In other words, all are welcome. But it's your job to explain. It's not my job to explain. All right. So next time you have to make the distinction. A print ad is not the same thing as a social media post ad. They're not the same things. All right. Thank you very much, group 3. Let's go. Room 3. Sorry. Let's go to room 2. Camelia, Fabian, and Francine. Go ahead for me.
Sir, disclaimer.
No disclaimer. No disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
No, we don't need a disclaimer. All you need to do is to put up your ad and present. You don't need no disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
All right, go ahead with your disclaimer.
All right, sir. Well, I'm explaining the disclaimer now. All right. Based on what you said a while ago, what about media post ad?
Go the ad and make our assumptions. You're telling us and we don't even see the ad yet.
Yeah, but I just dropped the disclaimer before.
Show we man. Make we see it first and make a determination.
That's trouble, right? Sir, so this was I think it all coming out green, so but the one here from there.
All right, talk to us.
You hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
From the Excelsior Community College, targeting 5th form graduates, which would be a part of the Generation Z target group. Also, as well as to some extent the millennials.
Millennials.
Why
did you remove the ad? Where's the ad? Why
happened?
We're not seeing the ad. The ad must still be there while you're talking to us, so that we can make a determination.
Sir, but I don't know what ad. Okay. So on the ad, you see they use these 2 young male and female persons, which indicate that from the Generation Z are a graduate from a 5th form institution, then you have the chance to further education. Go on again, sir.
Yes, it has.
Sir, I took my phone.
No, but just talk and don't touch it. Once you don't touch the phone, it will not go away because we can hear you.
I can't touch it because I say, all right, no man. So basically, they use the young person to bring forth its target group, or to catch the younger generation, which would be part of the Generation Z. With the ad, they use the associate degree, some skill certificate, certifications as.
What are the benefits? Because you're just reading on the ad. We can all read it. So don't tell us what is there. We can read it for ourselves. Tell us what are the benefits being stated, whether deliberately or explicitly or not in the ad. Did you read it?
Sir, the benefit would be getting the associate degree, certificates, and as well as to accelerate to the next phase
Okay.
of your educational process.
Stay there.
And the promotion.
All right, so I think this is targeting the Generation Z. Also, it's benefiting them. Just leaving out of high school, want to, pursue or further their education, right? And probably the sixth farm is so expensive. The parents can't afford it. So as you see, free tuition and all of that. So it will be beneficial for parents as well as students, right? So, it is more easier, it is more affordable, easier in the pocket. So it benefits parents, it benefits the younger generation, like I said, Generation Z and stuff like that. It targets them so that, okay, then people can come in for further than education without a hassle or thinking where they're going to get money from to go to sixth form or even going to any other college to do it. Excelsior is giving them an easier way out.
Another benefit that was there that I didn't hear is the fact that the entry requirement is just that they must be a fifth form graduate. Usually they would have to have 5, 6 C's or something of the sort. But according to the ad itself, they just need to be a fifth form graduate. Okay, all right. And that ad I supervise the conception and production of. So I was very surprised that I wanted you guys to go outside of the school, but no problems if you choose an ad that is Excelsior related. Oh, class is over, right? My Jesus.
Sir,
All right,
after we market the brand same way in our class.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so very much, Fabian. Yeah, but of course, definitely.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah, I remember that Canada 13 going on.
Oh,
yes, remember.
No.
Next time.
Nothing like
That's
that.
why I see why the next group go for the Canada one too. Them they are go for the eating, but they never come with the right one.
All right, guys. So I must end here because I have a 7 o'clock class and it's now 3 minutes after 7. And it means that you guys also have a class too. So, all right, I'll see you on Wednesday. Room 1, you will continue. You will do your presentation first thing on Wednesday. Okay? Bye, everybody.
Okay, sir.